And we're back to our bulletin. And let's go, and I want to save as the fire space bulletin version 1. So I'll keep my bulletin geo here, and I think I can remove this fire source, fire import, just to add more, delete some unuseful elements. So as you remember, inside of this node built-in geo, we create 4 different sources, and those 4 different sources should create 4 different simulation. For one the window, another one this object, and this object, which is vertical and more horizontal. And maybe if I want to add a fire here in the small window, I will add the 5th sources. So, but can we merge all those elements together to create just one source and put this one source in one simulation in a sparse mode? Okay, so what I want to do, I can create a separate geo node. So let's create that geo, and that should be my fire sparse source. Go to object merge, and I want to select my fast window. So we already have sources, so I'm going to build in geo and use my fuel v1 out, or not a fuel, in fact I want to get just those guys, Windows 1, Windows 2, and I get that yeah, roof 1, roof 2, yeah. So I don't want to use already for the metrics, so it's going to be a window 1, can rename it window 1, so window 2, can merge them, combine those geometries. All right, now I want to duplicate it, holding Alt key, who doesn't remember, and have a roof 1. Let's call it roof 1 and roof 2. All right, and add them to the mesh node. All right, so what we have here, a lot of different unuseful stuff. So go here and convert, or even from this group delete, clean, all that stuff. Okay, so now we have points, primitives, vertices, and all other stuff. And now what I want to do, I will add my pyro source. Okay, so we can add a null object to say that's my source geo. Okay, so now I want to add something here. So I guess I will use maybe a surface scatter, like here. And you know what, I want to maybe separate those elements. So source, I don't know, the windows, source windows. I will explain why I'm doing it. Holding Y key if you want to just cut those elements. So the thing is, when I create those flames from windows and for my roof, I thought that I should create the fire with less fuel in windows and more fuel there, because I want to have a bigger fire on the roof and smaller fire on the windows. So if I use different containers, like I show you here, we can play with different pyro setup. We can use a different the cooling rate. We can play with the flame height. But here we will use just one DOP network, one pyro solver. That's why I can apply just the same parameters inside of pyro solver for all my objects. So what I want to do, I want to play a little bit with the sources. So for my roof, I will add a little bit more fuel here to create a little bit more intense fire. And for my windows, I will add less fuel. Okay, so I will merge those elements then, but for now I will separate a little bit. So source, roof, and source window. Now with the pyro source, I definitely want to create a little bit more particles. So maybe like 0.0075, a lot of particles, really a lot of particles. And well, not such much, 45,000 is not too big. Now the attribute noise that I should have here, and my voxel, my volume rasterize attribute. So let's begin with that and create a few channels. So the first channel should be a fuel. So I can do this, I can add a fuel. And another one is the temperature. And as I did last time, I will scale down my fuel and temperature to get like zeros here. And now inside of my attribute noise, I will use the additive mode with 1D, and with my fuel and temperature, I will apply this noise. Okay, so just in additive mode. And as I did, just 1 and 0, minimum 1, maximum 0. And now we're gonna have a nice difference between the temperature and between the minimum and maximum, just from 0 to 1. Animate it with the Warley Stellar, and let's play with noise. I want to see my final result. So here's my temperature. Yeah, it's my voxel size a little bit bigger. Yeah. So with that bit noise, I definitely want to have a little bit smaller noise size. Definitely smaller, 0.5, 0.25. And the pulse duration, maybe like 0.5. I want to make it a little bit quicker. So now let's play a little bit with the distribution. So what is this? Is we have a remap noise. This linear result say us that we have like half of all noises from 0 to 0.5. I explain. If you look at our, what's my temperature? The lower and the bigger amount, almost the half of all my points have the settings from 0 to 0.5, and another half you have settings from 0.5 to 1. So if we want to have like more maximum values, we can rise this thing up and put this thing down. So now we have more big values. If you look on my fuel now, you can see that now I have more values with the lower number, because maximum is 0 here. So more lower number, you can see that our 0.5 is somewhere right here. Yeah, so here's my fuel, and we have a 0.5 somewhere here, and all my points which is left here have a settings less than 0.5. Okay, so just this range of points have a settings more than 0.5, from 0.5 to 1, and this range of points have a settings from 0 to 0.5. So that's how we can control. If you want to set more minimum values, we can play like this. So now we have more maximum values. Now if you see that our 0.5 is somewhere here, All right, so we can play with this, and we can even like do such interesting stuff. I want to have more maximum values. So let's make like this dot should be the value 1, and this dot maybe like value 0.5. And those guys, I don't know, like 0.1 here and 0.1 here, like 0.8 closer, or 0.9, and you maybe to 0.1. That's how I create this nice noisy stuff. Okay, getting back here, and with element size, well, 0.25 should be fine. All right, so that's what maybe even smaller. Okay, let's make 0.15. Yeah, maybe like this. And definitely for my roof, I want to increase my element size. I think so. Now let's go and create a null object. And before I paste it here, I will merge those elements. So go to PyroSource2, and here's my roof. I guess that I will use the same number of points, so 0.0075. Yeah, good amount. Now I will hold an Alt key. I will copy and paste this. Oh, I forget to add the fuel and the temperature. Come on. And temperature. As always, 0 and 0. Let's take some time for calculation because we have a huge container as you see. And if I go to my volume rasterize attribute, it's 500,000, not too much in this case. But with the attribute before I go to attribute noise, I want to play a little bit with the fuel, and I want to add default size 5, and default value is 1 for the temperature. So now with the attribute noise, when we apply the remap noise, now inside of fuel I have a difference between 0 and 1, basically the same difference. It doesn't matter that I choose the default value of 5 here, because I will scale it down to 0. So what I'm doing here, I want to scale back to 1. Now I have fuel just 5, and after the attribute noise I have a difference between 6 and 5. I want to have a bigger difference, because now if you go to volume rasterize, there is almost no black sides, black areas. So I want to remap my minimum and maximum. And for now I will play like maybe from 0 to 5. And this range will increase. So now full 10 and 5. So I want to maybe like play 2.1 and minus 0 and minus 5. So now I have the areas with fuel 5 and areas with fuel 0. And with my PyroSource, I will change a little bit. Oh, sorry, not the attribute noise. I will change my ramp. Go to this point. Come on, go to this point and make value 0.5. And for that point, I will set a value of 1. Because I changed my minimum and maximum, so now I change my ramp. And yeah, I need to change the scale of my noise, because for now it's pretty small actually, so 0.5. And with the pulse duration, maybe increase it to 1.5. And I guess this looks pretty good. All right, So let me just see on my attributes here, fuel from 5 to zeros. So just to ensure that we don't have anything less than 0, we can enable the checkbox. All right, to cut all areas with attributes less than 0 to 0. I hope there won't be such areas, but anyway. And it's going to be my fuel out. Now I merge those elements. Now I have the huge source contains with 2 containers. So we have voxels like 97, and so is my temperature. Oh yeah, I guess that I should have the same. Let's remove this stuff. So I have just a fuel without temperature. Okay, so let's update it. Let's delete this guy. I will apply my temperature from the fuel and play a little bit with the scale, maybe. So now we have just the fuel for my second huge container and fuel and temperature for my windows. All right. So yeah, I can do the same. In fact, I can do the same with this because I will use just one volume source. So I will do the same and remove that. So just the fuel. Yeah. And let me just make sure that we have the same voxel settings. 0.1, 0.01, 0.01. Cool. Now let's go and set up my DOP network. That's going to be my fire sparse same. Go to my pyro solver sparse. Go to this smoke object sparse. And go to the volume source, not sparse, just simple volume source. Connect to sourcing, smoke object, and let's choose my source and fire sparse source. Fuel out. I can choose my source fuel here. So go to flame and get the fuel for temperature. Cloud this and use a pull, maybe like 45. I can play with the scale a little bit later. So the fuel and flame, fine. Now go to smoke object. I want to set my multi-field and with the density and temperature, choose it like 5, flame, and temperature. Okay, so my voxel size is pretty big. Just by default, it pays 0.025, something like that, and copy this parameter for linking my volume rasterized. So paste relative reference here and here. Cool. Now let's check what do we have. Something wrong here. And I think that we have some reason we can't identify our fields. So I get that, yeah, I need to enable this large fields to contain sources. So now, whoa, now we have our bulleting. It's too big. So here you can see a source. Now you can see that we have a high temperature and the bigger fuel amount. You know what? Maybe 5 is a little bit bigger than I want to. So maybe 3 here and -3 there. Okay. So now if you go to our simulation, we can see one interesting stuff. With our voxels, voxel 0.25, we have 37 million voxels in this huge container. But if you look on our active region, we can see the active area. We can see the active area, which is good. So there is a lot of space, a lot of empty space, which we will not include in our simulation, and that will increase our simulation time, actually decrease the simulation time and increase simulation speed. That's what I want to say. And let's go to my fire here. I guess I want to add my static object, static solver. So copy that, paste these elements here. Oops. And nothing I want to add here. Let me just hide this geometry. Another element I want to add here is my wind. It should be a gas wind, just small, not too big strength. So minus the, I want to send the wind from the right side to the left side, and the wind scale maybe like 0.5. Okay, maybe a little less, maybe 0.4, and connect this to our forces. Connect to my forces. Now let's add a basic setup for my parasol parse. As always, I want to change my advection reflection to a single project with the default setup, and reduce my cooling rate like we did, something like 0.35, 0.4, and as we did, I choose my reference temperature like 3000. And the buoyancy scale, we had like, I don't know, 0.25, maybe like this. Cool, let's go to flames. I don't want to have too big flames. And again, if you want play a little bit with the flames, you can separate your simulation into 2 different sims. One is for the windows and another one for this roof. Because really it's very helpful, even with the sparse mode, to sometimes separate one simulation into a few smaller ones. I don't want to miss smoke, so go to the shape area, and like we did for my fire, I disable dissipation because we don't have a smoke. Enable disturbance rating and turbulence, and as I remember, we have a shredding something like 13 and turbulence 0.2. Come on, take some time for calculation. And for the disturbance, I want to change the density to a flame. Okay, maybe decrease the pulse length a bit, maybe 0.15. And block size, can choose to continuous. Yeah, I choose continuous. Yeah, so reference scale, let it be 0.2. So shading flame, the pulse length is 0.15. The roughness is much bigger to have more small details in my noise and to add even more details with an octaves. Put like 4 octaves here, and with the turbulence increase the swirl size to like 2. Cool. So that's almost the same setup we used for my fire in my last lessons. In maximum step 3, that's what I want to have. And now let's go to import. I want to see how fast this result will be calculated for me. So geometry, disable that, and that's going to be my fire sparse import. Okay, so dop import fields. Let's choose our theme, sparse theme, and any smoke object we will find there. Now choose the pyro, and I need to import my density. This fuel, city, heat temperature, velocity, density, right. So you can just disable that. Oops, density 1, there's no density 1. Or you can put your density if you want, if you have some smoke inside, but in my case I don't have, and invisible for my heat, and I don't have a heat, I have a flame. So basically in right order, maybe I will add a flame here. Oh, flat. File, cache, and this guy, that's going to be my fire sparse version 1, and set into null object. Oops, bulge. No, it's a little dark here, so and it's gonna be my fire out. Make it black, or I don't know, bright orange. Cool. Now I want to change my voxel size to even more dramatic 0.01. So let's see how many voxels do I have in my start container. Just wait a little bit to merge all those fields. Sometimes you can increase the number of voxels to some incredible values, but I think that our sparse mode will have a deal with that. So how many? Well, 500 million voxels. Yep. I have just 32 gigs RAM on this machine, so cross my fingers and let's try to do this.